Hello, I'm Dr. Ben Szirth from the Rutgers Medical School, and we're here today to look at the new OCT A1 from Canon, and we're going to do an actual OCTA on a patient, and we're going to have Dave come into the instrument, and I'm going to set the instrument so that I can capture Dave's right eye, and all I'm going to do, as in the previous OCTAs from Canon, I'm going to use just a mouse. I'm going to right click once the image is in the pupil. Once the image is in the pupil, I'm going to select which type of scan I wish to do. It's going to set the C gate automatically. Everything is automatic, including focus. We know that Dave is a -5. I'm going to select OCT A. Once that is selected, I'm going to have Dave look straight at the X. I'm going to use the X to move a tiny bit the fixation target. And once that is acquired, I'm going to start by clicking on the right. It will automatically capture the image I need. I'm going to ask Dave not to blink and not to move for just about 6 seconds. And then once I have acquired the image, I'm going to simply say, okay. I'm going to have Dave sit back for a second. I'm going to go into report. I'm going to look at the view here. And what I can do is look at the image here, and in just one click, instead of doing, for example, averaging, I can go into a new feature that is called denoise. And denoise will actually take off the pixelation on the image and create this final image. We have no denoise, and here we have denoise as we see it on the image. We're now going to do a general OCT where we can do several functions. We can do this the classical first shot, where we're going to get the OCT aligned. We're going to have the patient look directly at the X. We have two size X's that we can choose from. In low vision, we can have a large X that will appear here, or a small X. We're going to right click and ask the patient not to blink and not to move, just for a second. The patient then can blink but not move. Always look at the X. They can blink comfortably. The device will follow the patient, will track the patient back and forth. Once the image is captured, I'm going to say okay. I'm going to go to the next image, which is going to be glaucoma. In glaucoma, I'm going to look at Dave's optic nerve. I'm going to go in. Automatically, it sets the X for optic nerve. We notice that in this case, Dave has unsuspected optic nerve head drusen. We're going to bring the image up a little bit, and then I'm going to right-click and ask the patient not to blink and not to move. Don't blink, don't move, don't blink, don't move. Dave is actually looking at the X, and the device is tracking. Every time you see a red square around this image, it tells me it lost traction. It's done. We see the optic nerve head drusen. I'm going to say, okay, accept. I'm going to go in and do an OCT A at this point of the optic nerve head. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So I'm going to go into his retina. I'm going to take the fixation target. Very good. It now set the C gate. I'm going to take the fixation target, and very good. So I moved it so I can see the optic nerve, and I'm going to set this centrally. And please look at the X. Very good. And I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Please don't blink, don't move, don't blink, don't move, don't blink, don't move. So we're doing an OCT A. And you can blink, but please don't move. You can blink, but don't move. Every time you see a red, it's when he's blinking, and it just tells us it's not tracking. So it finished this. We're going to go in review. So we go to report, and we're going to look at the OCTA. I'm going to bring up this OCTA looking at vasculature. I'm going to use the function again of denoise. So you're going to see a difference in just a second. Quite a big difference between the two, and it's very, very rapid. Once I have this function chosen, Dave can sit back, and we're going to do a 3D. Here's a 3D function where you can clearly see the optic nerve head drusen in Dave. You can see the vessels going up and around. I'm going to take off the vitreous in this sense and the choroid because I don't need to see those. And once I have that, I can selectively go in various functions where I can zoom in, zoom out, and use this to open up, fan out, to be able to follow his optic nerve, and I can go either way. So this would be one function, and I can go back to single and take a look again at his projection. I can set the brightness. There you go. Here's the en face image if we had the retinal image, and I can set him up in skeleton and again take off or on the denoise. I'm going to close this, go review the other images. I have now an OCT image. The OCT is showing me, trying to show me what the cup to disc ratio is, but because he has an optic nerve head drusen, it's not showing me the actual aperture of the optic nerve cup to disc ratio, but it's showing me where the nerve fiber layers are and when the ganglion cells are. And I can see that the T-SNIT is intact, so we're in good control. The optic nerve head drusen is not as big as one would think it is. And we can see the thickness map of his macula, which is perfectly normal. We're going to do another function here where we're going to go from the thickness map to a 3D. In 3D, I can see a lot of noise in the vitreous, so I'm going to clear out the vitreous, the noise, and then I'm going to go to cross section where I can actually see the actual image of Dave's fundus. All the noise at the bottom here is part of the choroid, so I'm going to take that off, and now we can see the SLO image, the laser scanning ophthalmoscope from the OCT A1, and we're going to see this function here. I'm going to be able to go and again look at his macula, fovea. Everything looks good. I can continue to the optic nerve, and you can see the optic nerve head drusen in this function. I'm going to now start the last image we're going to do of Dave. I'm going to have him come back. Notice that everything that is done on the OCT A1 is all driven by mouse and no wires. So I'm going to reset Dave here. I'm going to set the distance, come back into his fovea, his pupil, and I'm going to go to his optic nerve in just a second. Very good. It's now set. It's so easy to use. I'm going to go back to glaucoma. Very good. Very good. I'm going to move the internal fixation. Please follow that. Very good. And we're going to capture this image in 3, 2, 1. Please don't blink, don't move, don't blink, don't move, don't blink, don't move. This is a very fast scan to look at the three-dimensionality of the optic nerve head drusen. You can sit back and relax. We're going to look at the report. We're going to pull up the image. You can see I did a full 360, and what that allows me to do is look at Dave's optic nerve. Each scan is moving around 360, which allows me to see exactly what's happening in three-dimensionality in Dave. We can see this area here are the nerve fiber layers. So we can see that his nerve fiber layers are complete, so they're not being compressed. And finally, we're going to look at Dave's SLO. We can see his optic nerve looks quite normal. Cup to disc looks normal. But when we go and look at the angiography part, automatically it's set the denoise, so we can see he has good vascularity, and it only took a fraction of a second to be able to do all this part. So with this, these are the new features that we can apply on the OCT A1 and continue the progression of understanding the diseases.